All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans for Tuesday, March 29th, 2022, in the height of end of month. Thank you so much for making time to be here. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the author of Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent, and founder of the Notary Business Builder, the Advanced Notary Mastermind. I am here by myself today. Laura just had a last minute urgent thing she had to take care of. So it's just going to be me. So be gentle. We'll talk about pretty much anything you want to talk about. One thing I do want to share really quick. Well, we'll just tell you how the show works if you're new here. I know we've had a lot of new faces lately. Guys, TNT is like an old-fashioned call-in radio show, except we're here on Zoom, and we're here to answer all your questions about your notary business. The way that it works most efficiently is to use the raise hand feature in Zoom, and then we will call on you. When I call on you, please tell me your name if it's not obvious in your Zoom information, and tell us what state you're hailing from. That really helps give you the best answer possible. And then I'm going to go over this framework for asking questions. This was courtesy of Renee Lamb, a fellow mobile notary and loan signing agent who brought this forward from her days in the corporate world. Guys, to make this show run as efficiently as possible, give us a little bit of context on your question, jump right in to either specific or a general question that you might have, and then put yourself on mute, hang out, and receive the answer. If I need some clarifying information, I might ask you some more information as well, which is totally okay. But this way, we should be able to get through as many questions as possible today. No holds barred. If you have questions about building authentic relationships, how to grow your business, those types of things, this is the time to do it, guys. This is exactly why we're here. Plus, you've got notaries from all over the country on this call. Use this to connect with each other. You can do so in the public chat. You can do it in private chat. You can message each other back and forth. So if you haven't already, type into the chat where you're from, a nice message to everybody. And if you see somebody you'd like to connect with, I encourage you to do so. Plus, if you found some solutions or if you have some perspective to offer on some of the other questions that are being asked, please feel free to put that in the chat as well. Remember, I'm just one person, Laura's just one person speaking from our own experience and expertise. All right, I see that we've already got some hands up. Let's jump in. Teresa, thank you so much for being here. Looks like you're in California. How can we help today? Don't forget. Oh, hold on. I got to let you guys unmute. That was my bad. 1 second. There you go, Teresa. Power is granted.
Okay, thanks a lot. I thought I can't be pushing something wrong on the mute button, you know?
It's not you, it's me.
Okay. I was thinking about business liability insurance, because I do live scan as well as apostilles and, general, along with the notary work. But I didn't see any insurance policies that would benefit me in any way, but I've heard other notaries get general liability insurance. So I was wondering what the benefit of that is.
Yeah, great question. I'm glad that you're even thinking about this kind of stuff. This is definitely next level conversation. So professional liability insurance is sold through lots of different insurance companies. So the first thing I want to say is I am not a licensed insurance advisor. I'm not a legal advisor. I'm not a tax professional. So keep that in mind and always get professional advice that way, so you understand the ins and outs of your policy. But there are, in fact, I know there's notaries on this call right now that have opted to get professional liability insurance to supplement their E&O insurance for their notary aspect, because that E&O insurance that we often buy through merchants bonding or through the National Notary Association covers the notarial acts, but not necessarily the other stuff that you're doing as a signing agent. And then if you're having other businesses on top of that, like the fingerprinting, maybe a wedding officiant, maybe you're having people come into your home, those types of things. You want to have professional liability coverage as well, possibly. It's all about your own risk tolerance. So get with an advisor that can help you out. And if you're on this call and you found some resources for professional liability insurance, please put that into the chat so Teresa can follow up with those resources as well. There are lots of these companies, and Teresa, if you get a true insurance advisor that can tell you where your pitfalls are and what to look out for and what you need liability coverage for, they can really guide you along here. And I'd love some suggestions for that too. Maybe not just the company name, but if you found an advisor that just blew your mind, let's include that in the chat as well.
Yeah, because I talked to a couple advisors and they have no idea what I'm talking about.
They've never heard of professional liability insurance?
They have, but they wouldn't know how it would help me in my, you know, I don't know, they wouldn't help me in my, you know, how it would help me with live scan or apostilles, how that would. So I was like, okay.
Try this. Try suggesting that you're looking for something that would supplement your errors and omissions insurance, because really you're looking for something that's going to cover you in the event of a mistake that you make. Plus, if you're going in and out of people's homes, or if people are coming in and out of your home or office or car, any of that, then that might be a trigger word for them. That might help them understand a little more about what you're trying to accomplish. But I will also say, and I don't know who these people were, but a good advisor asks far more questions than giving advice.
Yeah.
So they'll have a whole list of questions so they understand what situation you're in, so they can give you the product or the contact that can help you the most.
Okay. All right. I'll just keep looking then for someone.
Yeah. And in the chat, I think you're getting lots of good feedback here. Thank you, Teresa.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you bet. All right, great question. Yes, this will be recorded. I just happened to see the chat. Guys, I don't pay attention to the chat very often. Otherwise I get distracted, but I did see. The replays for Tuesday Notary Titans are always available on my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Notary Coach. And I send out that email usually every week with the link. So you can watch that at notarycoach.com/TNT. All right, Debbie H, thanks so much for being here. I see you're in California as well. Welcome. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you so much. I have two quite different questions. The first one is about taxes. And I know every state is a little bit different, but I think this is basic. If you break up what your notary fee is and a travel expense, are they taxed differently or handled differently?
It depends on how you're categorizing them. Usually, like on a broad scale, income is income, but there is and again, I'm not a tax advisor, so get your proper tax advice.
Yeah.
But as notaries public, we get the exemption from publication 334. So in that regard, you'd absolutely want to keep those separate, because your notary fee, your notarial act fee does not include convenience charges or anything, mileage and all of that. So you keep those separate. Is that helpful?
So I'm just going to pick numbers. If I, my signing fee was 100 and my travel fee was 50, and I did, 3 notarial acts, I would be subtracting $45 because I'm in California. But it still subtracts from the total. I mean, I'm still $45 less, whether it's from the 150 or just the 100.
Tell me what's the objective? What are you trying to accomplish?
Well, I didn't know. This is my first year doing taxes as a notary, so I'm not sure the best way to show the revenue, the income.
So I would highly recommend that you find either oh, and I just talked to Renee about this. She's going to slap me because I don't remember the name of, there's CPAs, and then there's a category that's not
Enrolled agent, Bill.
Thank you, Phil. Enrolled agent that specializes in, if you can't find one that specializes with notaries, find one that is specialized with mobile sole proprietors that understand the complexities of this. And you might have to mention publication 334 if it is something that you want to take advantage of. It does not make sense for everybody to claim that exemption. So you want to get proper tax advice on this. But
Okay,
Debbie, usually you have to report your income and then you have deductions from there all the
Yeah.
way across. And the Notary Assist software too, like even Sue Hope, if you use Notary Assist or if you use Notary Gadget, those proprietors can be really helpful in just guiding you along the way on the type of reports that you can pull, which sometimes helps things click. Like, oh, okay, that's how we're going to be keeping track of things. And then you just hand that report to your tax professional and they figure it out.
I didn't use Notary Assist or Gadget last year. I will definitely be using them for 2022.
Yes, it makes life so much easier.
Yes, I've felt the pain. My second question is about notarizing a brand new trust. And this will be about my third or fourth one, and the prices have been all over the map. And this one is going to be less than 5 miles from my house. And per the documents, there's going to be 14 notarizations. I'm just sort of curious what other people would be charging for this.
Yeah, well, that's a really great question. And so there's a lot of things that come into play when it comes to fees. So if there's anybody that would like to share their ballpark on living trust or estate planning, please feel free to do that in the chat. What I can say, Debbie, for me, it depends on the full scope of the work. If the attorney is going to be present, if they're going to be doing all the presentation of the documents and I'm simply there as quality control and doing the notarization, I might have a slightly lower fee than if I'm doing all of that. If I'm presenting the documents, that's one of the reasons I love estate planning and in particular living trust appointments, because they're just like loan signings.
Mhm.
I'm presenting the documents, for in most cases, an attorney may have prepped them, gone through them already, made sure there was no questions, but I still need to present, let them know what they're signing, make sure everything gets signed, dated, and initialed correctly, and then do my notarization, very similar to the loan signing. So I usually, very rarely will I get paid less than $200 for
Okay.
a estate planning document. And sometimes I have some attorneys out here that I have regular relationships with where I get paid $400 for those. And in California, I know that there are some high performing notaries that get paid $250 to $400 for their living trust. I also know lots of them that get paid $150 to $175 for them because they are so similar to loan signings. They have a great working relationship with an attorney and they just keep going like that. And they fill in the gap between loan signings. Very rarely do I know of any notaries that charge per notarization with no flexibility, like 14 times 15. Sometimes that seems like a logical way to do it, but I don't know anybody who does that. There's usually some sort of bundling activity involved, depending on the full scope of the work.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Debbie. Great questions. Manny Smith, I think I saw you in chat. It says you're in Tennessee. Is that right?
That's correct. Hello, everybody. My name is Manny Smith. From Nashville, Tennessee. Been doing this for about 3 or 4 months, and I don't have a question today. I just want to make a brief comment, and I'll be out. I just got my first title direct signing this morning, and I'm super excited. Just based off what you, Bill, and everybody else, has been teaching, and that's been an interesting experience. So I just wanted to say thank you to you and everybody else. I'm really excited about that, and came with a nice hefty fee too. So that was really good. So thank you all very much.
Congratulations, Manny. Don't go anywhere though. Hold on one second, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
I'd like to ask you some more questions about that because I know going escrow direct is It's either a priority for some or a terrible fear for others.
Absolutely.
So I would like to understand more. You said you've been going based off of what me and everybody else is teaching you. So
Sure.
how did you land this escrow direct appointment?
Well, I've actually been, for the last couple of months, I've been networking heavily with real estate agents, and I've been actually informing them that they could actually use a preferred notary. A lot of real estate agents don't know this. So, I started out about 3 months ago with the whole signing platform gigs, and you get them and they're good, and it fluctuates, but I wanted something steady. And so I decided to really go full blast with real estate agents, and I've gotten some feedback. Some have decided to, use me because I know them. They're like, we have a relationship. If our client can't come to the title office, we will definitely use you. And I had one that caught up last week, and D-Day was today, so that's good. Another one looking to close on the 11th, so that's how I sort of kind of marketed myself to try to get in direct with them, and it looks like it's paying off, or it will pay off.
Yeah, congratulations, Manny. That's huge, and I like what you're thinking because real estate agents are excellent allies for us, even though they're on the kind of the peripheral for who makes the decisions to hire us. Most real estate agents, and it looks like you're pretty tied into the real estate community, and that most real estate agents have at least 3 escrow officers that they love working with.
There you go.
So when you get connected with a real estate agent, you're really, if they're kicking butt and they're hustlers, you're going to have connection to 3 possible escrow officers when those deals come through. So congrats. Thank you so much for sharing a little extra on that.
Well, thank you guys, and I will be off.
All right. Thanks, Manny. All right. That's huge. Phil Shannon, are you ready? I noticed your face left. Hey, great to see you, Phil. Oh, you're still muted. Hold on one second. Let me send you a request to unmute. That was not me. That was you, Phil.
I know, that was absolutely me. Sorry, you caught me a little quicker than normal. I'm usually a little later in the show. So in fact, I thought the first few questions were setting me up because of errors and omissions, all that kind of stuff, taxes, et cetera, which, as you know, Bill, are a great source of the services that we provide. But I know when you and I and Laura talked a little bit, we talked about kind of the rest of the story. So I just want to make sure that the notaries who have been coming or are going to be coming to the Zoom that I do right after Tuesday Notary Titans. And I know we've had a couple weeks off because I messed up in Hawaii. And then last week, in fact, as Bill knows, I got the reminder 3 hours after the TV started. Oh, good. Because
You're breaking up, Phil.
Am I really? Shucks, I'm sorry about that.
Are you still in Hawaii? Are you pulling a fast one on me?
I'm not. I am not. We did some property though, so we will be going back many times. It was just wonderful. Yeah, I just want to remind everybody we have a Zoom direct following Tuesday, and that is at 5 after the hour. And Bill can explain where it is.
Hey, Phil.
Yes.
Real bad. You're breaking up so bad. So let me just take over on that and let everybody know, guys. Phil Shannon from Legal Shield has lots of information about how you can protect your business as a small business owner, as well as build an additional revenue stream with Legal Shield. If you'd like to do that, that's 5 minutes after TNT ends. And the Zoom link just to join, you don't even have to register, is at the bottom of notarycoach.com/TNT. Just scroll to the very bottom and you'll see the little section for Phil, and you can click right into that. Thank you so much, Phil. We'll get you next time when you're clear. And I just want to talk about I saw a question. I wanted to follow up with Manny on Manny's question, because I saw a question that said, do you get the real estate agent to introduce you to the escrow officer? And that is a great question. And I just want to give it a little more depth and context as well. So this will always boil down to relationships. Guys, I have looked for ways to circumvent or come up with another strategy. There's just no way around it. Relationships are everything in this business. In fact, there's two ways that customers are going to come to you in this business. One is through technology, right? You can have SEO, you could have Google ads, you could have Facebook ads, you could have all that, and that is going to help. But the other way is through people and relationships. There's no way to get around the relationship. So with real estate agents, you just want to form relationships with them. And I guarantee, like I'd be safe to say that every single person on the planet probably, but everybody on this call probably knows a real estate agent or six. It just seems like everybody is a real estate agent. I can't believe how popular that industry is. And whenever you connect with them, you stay in touch. They could be your best friend. They could be your neighbor. It could be somebody you work with. When you stay in touch with them, and maybe they're sharing on social media and you can see that they're loving what they do, reach out and talk to them. One of the most effective ways I did that was just to say, hey, Julie, I see you're kicking butt in your business. I love this. I'm loving my business too. You want to get together and see how we can support each other and just see what happens. Sometimes a conversation happens, sometimes it doesn't, but that's how you start. Sometimes you get in there and you realize, I don't think I want to do business with this person. And that's okay too. But a lot of times you just connect, you get that energy. And the thing is, in this industry, any type of sales industry, people share information. They want to connect you. So it might just real naturally just come off their tongue. Hey, I got to introduce you to Lucy over at First American Title. And it might be something that quick. It might just be the start of a longer term relationship that takes a little more time to come about. But that's how you start. All right. Kay Copeland, thank you so much for being here from Texas. I hope I'm remembering that correctly. Hi.
Yes, from Texas. Hello, Bill. Just a quick question. I recently had a investor from a different state. He's here in Texas now, but I did some notary work for him weeks ago, and so he's been calling me like every other day. So he asked me yesterday, "Hey, am I able just to send you over the documents?" Because he's an investor and he does like all of his repairs and all of that. And so he said, if I can just email you over all the documents that I need notarized, do I have to come in and meet with you? And I'm like, they're all his documents. He's going to sign them in my presence. But like, is that something that we could do without him always coming to me, since I know who he is and his name is on all of these documents?
What a great question. And I love the efficiency component. So, but I think the solution he's looking for might not quite look this way. You as a traditional notary public, there's no way that I know of to get out of physical presence unless you have the RON feature. Like if you become a remote online notary and do things that way, that would be the only option. Or of course, he doesn't have to go anywhere. You could go to him.
Okay.
Those are the two options, I guess.
Okay.
And then
perfect.
Of course the traditional way.
Yeah. Okay. I told myself, well, I think we have to meet in person, because this the purpose for me is just to witness your signature, but just didn't know if there was another way, considering we have built a relationship. But thank you, Bill.
Yeah, you bet. And I'll elaborate a little bit more too, guys. There's situations like was just described. You'll get offered that a lot, especially if you're an employee working for a company, or maybe you're a regular presence at a title company, and they'll just say, oh, we'll sign it later, just notarize it for us, or whatever it might be. And those are the situations that get really sticky. And you want to be aware that you cannot make exceptions to the rules, because those are how fraud sneaks in, because people know that there's an opportunity there, if there's somebody who wants to take advantage of a system. So stick to your guns, even when you have a relationship.
Thank you.
Now, also, I love what Lisa said. She says credible witnesses. Credible witnesses would not be an option here, but a power of attorney would be. So if he wanted to assign somebody power of attorney and all parties involved agreed to it, he wouldn't have to go anywhere. He could send his attorney, in fact. So
got it. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
I like that, Lisa, thinking outside the box. All right, guys. Well, that's the last hand. I guess our work here is done here on Tuesday Notary Titans, right? No, no possible way. Who else has a question, challenge, growing your business, cultivating relationships? Randy, great to see you. Thanks for raising your hand.
Sure. I've been struggling with this one a little bit. So I'm in Seattle, which is a very competitive market, whether it be direct or through signing services. Title companies want to pay really low fees. And it's been explained to me that they're basically bidding against all these title companies here are bidding against each other for low prices to get the business. So they're wanting to pay lower fees. And I actually just dropped one title office because they dropped all their fees $15 across the board. And I just said, sorry, I can't, if you can't pay me more, I can't work for those low fees. I can't go do a seller's package for $65, or I can't go do a buyer's package for $75 anymore. Is that something that's kind of standard across that you see across? Because I see when jobs come in with signing services from other parts of the country, I'm getting $125, $150 sometimes for my area. But then when I'm working with local companies, they all want to pay super low. Is that, with that one is kind of how do you see fees across the country? And then is with this refi, shrinking up, are a lot of companies going to be looking at dropping their fees?
Yeah, what a great question. So really, I'm always really hesitant with blanket statements. And I can guarantee you guys, if I was only making $65 on a signing, I wouldn't be up here running a signing company, doing this work and teaching others to do it. So I know it's not across the board, and there's going to be some major shifts, of course, within the industry. And I'll have a little more on that too, but I just saw a message from Nick, who owns a signing company in California, plus founder of Jurat Inc. and the Notary e-journal. And I think he's got some insight on this too. So Nick, you want to jump in on this?
Hey, can I get an audio check? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, sure can. Thanks for being here.
Awesome. Bill, thanks for having me. And Randy, nice to hear from you, like always. I wanted to touch on it because you asked a question that I just had a deep discussion about with a notary I met at a coffee shop about a week ago. And he's one of my regular notaries I use. And this is for my signing service. And we're nationwide and we stay pretty busy, and we try to stay as busy as possible and keep our notaries with business, and that way they can keep the food on their tables. That's the most important thing to me. And I think there is sometimes a disconnect between the understanding from the notary's end on how certain things work, and then the understanding of how the business works on the back end. And that's not to say, it's not to say that there aren't signing companies that will undercut their notaries as much as possible, because that absolutely happens. But my wife being an escrow officer, and now she's moved up to upper management, it's given me a different insight into how they retain their clientele and what we see with the ebb and flow of the business, especially when we have a situation like we have now where the rates go up and the overall volume, especially for refi, starts to lose some of the big numbers it was hitting in the past year or two. We get into a situation where escrow officers will sometimes, in order to maintain their clients, reduce their fees. And so for my signing service, for example, we just had to reduce the fee we charge to the actual lender themselves by $25. So it used to be $200 for what we would charge for a refi and a HELOC to the client, right? So to the lender, and then we would pay out whatever the product price would be. And so we had to reduce that fee by $25 because the escrow officer made that judgment call in order to save that business and save that client, which of course is smart because they have decent volume, and we want to make sure that we work together and maintain that relationship. So what we did is that we had to reduce our fees that we pay out to you guys as notaries, and we reduced it by 10. So the way we see it as a business, we're taking a $15 cut, and then the notary is taking 10. But a lot of times the notary doesn't see it from that point of view. They don't realize it. They might be seeing a price reduction on their end, and that they assume it's completely the cost they have to absorb, and that the signing service isn't. Now, we're trying to meet our people right in the middle and say, hey, look, we're all losing money across the board, but this is going to help us keep work. And that's what we really want to do. And so I can't speak to every signing service, and I can't say that the bad things aren't happening, but when we do see the rates go up and the volume get reduced the way it does, you will see a reduction like this in prices often. And sometimes it's because of the reasons that I just described, just trying to maintain that healthy relationship with the escrow officer and lenders. So hope that provides a little bit of insight, Randy, and always great to talk to you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. And that's, I mean, that's it. Like, guys, the signing company owners are in business, the escrow officers in business, their company is in business. Everybody's making business decisions, and you get to make business decisions too. If it works for you, great. It's not going to do you any good to get all pissed off about it and rant and rave about it on social media. You've got to take control of your own personal business and then make some decisions. A lot of times they can be really flexible. Like they might get a letter from their corporate. We just had this letter from corporate that they need to try to find cost cutting. So of course they went right to me and I said no. So they went somewhere else to find their cost cutting. So sometimes you can have a conversation that deflects that somewhere else in their paper expenses or wherever it might be. Hold on, let me get this. Guys, let's try to keep yourself muted if you don't mind. But so Randy, to your question, I know that if there are companies who have banked on refinances for the last couple of years, they're going to be feeling the pinch. So they're going to be scrambling for things. And that's why I think there's going to be some shifts. But there's still plenty of companies that are not doing that. Like, even though I have one client who tried to go lower on their prices, I've got others that are booming through commercial and through home builder business that aren't, it's not even on their radar to lower the fees. So there are, and I'm not just some exception to the rule. I'm not a unicorn here in Arizona, right? These companies exist in all 50 states. So even if you're experiencing a pinch with some clients, you can find others that aren't, and they recognize that we've got $6 a gallon gasoline, cost of papers going up, and it's crazy. So it's just a matter of finding the right one. What else you got, Randy?
So kind of a related question. I have a local title company that is switching all of their seller packages, or almost all their seller packages, to Ron's. And they're wanting to, again, drop the fee because, and I talked to the one escrow office and she said, oh, well, we're dropping our fees because it's way less work for you, right? You don't have to drive to them. You're not having to print out all these documents. We're not having to pay a FedEx label for you to FedEx them back to us. And I'm trying to, and she's not the one that is making the decision. So I'm trying to find out who's the one that's actually making the decision in their office of how do I explain, and I kind of asked Amy this question from Cyber Eyes, how do I figure out what my real Ron costs are and then explain to them what my real costs are, or does that do any good to explain to them what my costs are and why I need to charge the fee that I need to charge? You know, because some platforms are charging, $10 a signature, $25 a signature, whatever it is, or per stamp, and some sellers packages are 3 stamps and some of them are 8 or 9 stamps. So I don't know if it does any good to try to explain to them what my costs of business are to them, or who I should ask for advice.
Yeah, that's a really great question, Randy. And what I have found is if I come at something out of my costs, I've already pulled the rug out from under me. My costs are not how I determine my pricing from the customer perspective. It's my value. What am I bringing to the table, which involves my time, my expertise, the flow of these appointments, how people are going to feel when they walk away from the computer or the screen. And not everybody appreciates that too. So that's one thing we got to get really clear on, guys. Some companies are just want to commoditize our service. All they want is a body with a pulse and a stamp. And that's all they want. That is not going to be my ideal customer. And it's unfortunate if that's where companies are trying to go, but I guarantee you, even if they go there for a little while, Randy, they'll be back because it's not going to work. There's going to be fraud. There's going to be errors. There's going to be angry customers because it's still a relationship. Just because we have a computer screen and a camera between us, there still has to be the relationship component on this, because these can go wrong in a hurry. And guys, these seller packages, or even the signer packages, the bar packages on Ron, take a ridiculous amount of time right now. So there's still room for the value that you bring.
All right, thank you. Because like I know with this one title, tell me the one escrow officer I work with mainly, you know, she loves it. She hates when I call her because there's a problem, but she loves that I do call her with a problem. And, you know, I'm one of their preferred notaries. And, you know, I don't know how many times, probably at least once or twice a week, I'm finding mistakes in their paperwork, and I'm having to reprint stuff in my car because they didn't get something right. You know, and I know that ultimately that she appreciates that, but I don't know how to convey that level of service that I'm providing to each escrow office to her boss without asking her to go to her boss and tell her that.
What does she want to pay you for a seller package via Ron?
So they're at like $60. And so depending on the platform, you know, the time involved and the amount that I'm paying to that platform, it's, I mean, they're breaking even or I'm losing money on the deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, so there's in a lot of ways, Randy, I think it would be totally okay to let them know that, hey, these platforms are not free. There is a charge for these, but you don't want to get in the weeds about what your breakdown of your cost is, because then they get to determine your worth and your value. So there can be a educational component to this, because this is new to everybody, Randy. So it would be absolutely okay to let them know that there's an expense, and they'll have a hard time finding a quality notary that's going to work for $10 or negative $10. If you have a relationship with them, I think it's okay to have that conversation for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Great question. And then the other thing is too, you know, if you decide that you want Ron in your business, if you went all in, like this isn't necessarily for Randy, but this is for other people who are trying to decide, is remote online notarization where I want to go or not? If it is, you can still reverse engineer your business. If you got a client who's willing to spend $60 and it takes you an hour to do a seller signing, and you have a goal of making, well, we know $400 a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year is $100,000 a year. If that's your goal, and you can find a client who makes that work, and you don't mind sitting in front of the computer all day doing that, then that could be a viable option for you. You get to decide that. All right, Lupita Ibarra, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Bill. Just a quick question for you, and this may not be the right place to ask it. Would you mind going over the, I'm not sure what the exact name is, like the little notary business sesh that y'all have that expires at the end of the month?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for even bringing it up. I totally forgot, guys. Lupita is bringing up the Notary Business Builder. This is the absolute last week that this program is available at the $97 per month. So Notary Business Builder is for advanced notaries. It's not for you if you're brand new. It has 8 different courses in it. I gotta get Dwayne muted there. It's got 8 different courses in it. So it's got the SEO for notaries course, it's got the reverse mortgage course, Sign and Thrive's included, including the podcast, Laura Buer Presents, Signing Agent Marketing with Jen Neitzel's all included. It's got the Get Known strategy. It's got LinkedIn professional profile from Sandra Long, all included in the price. In addition to that, we have 20 live teaching calls with all of those instructors. We call them the faculty that deliver additional information and live teaching 20 times a week, plus Notary Assist with Sue Hope. That subscription is all included in there too. So it's a one-stop shop for everything that you need to succeed, to build a business that's going to last no matter what the economy is doing in there for you. So that's in there. You can go to notarycoach.com/NBB, or it's right on the homepage as well. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to hit me up anytime. Yeah, $97 a month forever. It is a subscription. The other cool feature is that, guys, it has the Tom app in it, which is like a advanced CRM for people who are on the road. So that's a customer relationship management tool. And we have built it so you can quickly add contacts. You can send your digital business card. We created content for closing agents. So you have email campaigns, you have a custom video to show the value of a preferred notary or an avant-garde advanced trained notary, all that good stuff included in there for you. All right, Lupita, I hope that helps. Feel free to hit me up via text if you guys have any questions on that. I want to make sure you guys get in because this is the absolute last time it will be offered for that rate. 602-309-0706 is my number. Every time I do this on TNT, it blows up a little bit though, so give me a little bit of grace to get back to you. Henry Felder, great to see you from New York.
Hey, Bill, how you doing? Happy happy day to you.
Thanks.
Bill, I got something real small. How are you with still using the 4-digit year, 2022? A lot of the clients, they just want to put 22 for the year. And part 2 to that is some of the customers where you can hardly read their dates when they put the date in. There are times I put the date in because the handwriting is so sloppy that I don't want the lender to send it back for correction.
Yeah, good question. So Henry, first, I would use extreme caution dating anything for someone. It can be just a slippery slope sometimes. I actually just insist that they slow down and date it. And I'm still doing the full 2022, the 2022 for the date, because I feel like I've been training myself that since 2020. So that's what I do. I have not had any pushback though. If something slips in with just the 2 digits. There in 2020 I did, and even in 01, it seemed like the lenders were really particular, but this year I have not had any pushback. I don't know if it's because I finally trained me and my signers, or if lenders have eased up on caring about that in 2022.
Yeah, so because what I do is the copy that I make for the borrower, I always put the 2-digit month, 2-digit date, and 4-digit year real big on the envelope. I said, this is your copy. And I said, this is the date that we're going with. And, you know, some of them give pushback to it. I don't make a big deal out of it. I say, well, whatever way you go, just do it throughout the whole package.
Well, that's the thing, right, Henry? We can't force them to do anything, right? We can't force them to sign a certain way or date a certain way. So you just give them an idea of the best practice or what the lender is going to be looking for. And then that sounds like, and I love that you do the envelope, so it's real crystal clear. And the other thing I just mentioned too, so if you do, especially if you're doing reverse mortgages, guys, some people really struggle with writing the dates. It's painful for them, or it's just sometimes they shake. The best practice there is if there's somebody else that they can assign that task to write in the dates, that would be best to do. Like if they have a partner, a spouse, a daughter, somebody who's in the room that can do the dating for them other than you. You just don't want to cross that line.
Okay, so you're good with like the spouse putting the date in. All right, so that's good. All right, so I think that's pretty much it on the dates.
All right, thanks, Henry. Thanks for being here. Apollonia, great to see you here, driving in Illinois, right? Gosh, my brain's actually working.
Yes, driving in Illinois. I just left for closing, so I got on a little bit late. Thank you so much for taking my question, and good afternoon to you, Bill. My question is, I've been doing some studying regarding TILA and RESPA. You know how you can just kind of self-certify?
Yeah.
My question about that is, if you get to closing and the signer says that they have a CD with different terms on it than the CD that you currently have to present to them to execute, is it the notary's responsibility? Is that the reason why we sometimes have to, some signing companies or hiring companies will ask you to self-certify for this? Is it because, just so that you are aware and to help the title company aid in being compliant? Is it the responsibility of the notary to say, hey, stop, wait, let me call and confirm with the settlement agent to confirm if they have, if the borrower denies receiving the copy of the closing disclosure that I'm presenting?
That's a great question. So from a very high level, you'd say no, because we're not the closing agent. We're not responsible for that. But that still is going to trigger a conversation, maybe, right? Because the closing disclosure has tons of various versions, because the terms change all the time, especially if the lender has to update with taxes, or maybe they just found out that there's an HO, all of these things are constantly changing. So the only time that I worry about that is if the borrower says, no, I was sent this is what I signed, this is different, and I don't want to sign it. Then I'll just say, hey, great, let's call the closing agent and see what's going on here. But as far as legal responsibility, again, I don't want to just quote, but that's not traditionally what our role is. We are not closing agents. We are not closers. We are gatherers of signatures. So that responsibility for adhering to that is usually the closing agent.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great question. And good on you for self-certifying in that. Good information. All right, Debbie H., welcome back. Debbie H., or maybe this is a different Debbie.
Sorry, no, I'm here.
Oh,
So on the NBB cost, if I go with 97 a month, it will be 97 a month for as long as I want to participate in NBB.
yeah, that's the great thing about it.
And if I buy the annual price, it'll be that annual price for the successive years as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you locked in your rate. And you save 2 months when you buy the year in advance. So it's only $970 for each year.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. I
You're
will
so
be
welcome.
signing up soon.
Awesome. Well, it'll be good to see you in there, Debbie. Thank you.
All right.
Galaxy Note 10 Plus in the house. Yes, there will be a replay on this. I see you asking in the chat. Replay every week as long as I remember to hit record. It is posted to notarycoach.com/TNT and on my YouTube channel.
Great. Hi, I just had a simple question.
Sure.
A little nervous.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, I do watch you on YouTube, so I just was making sure of that too. You know how on the loan packages, some of them don't have the venue. I'm just kind of a little confused. Am I supposed to input the venue in there or just notarize and keep it moving?
Great question. So first question, what's your name?
Oh, sorry, it's Elisan.
I'm sorry, what is it?
It's Elisan, Ellie for short.
Ellie for short. Thanks, Ellie. And what state are you in?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. All right. So when it comes to a notarized document, and I don't know Pennsylvania exactly, but there's probably going to be a venue requirement for your notarization component. So you'll have to include, or a best practice to include, your venue in the actual notarial certificate. So if it says county of, state of, and it's just blank lines, it would be your responsibility to fill that in. But I have a feeling you're probably talking about the documents where on the top of the page, there's clearly what looks to be a notarial venue. And then you go through the document and then there's a notarial certificate at the bottom. Is that correct?
Yes, but there isn't no space where it says if there's a state or a county, not even saying you need to input it or giving you the option to write it in. So it is blank there, but nothing's giving me the option to write it in.
Excellent. So Ellie, this will be a great question to consult your state statute for. And if there's anybody in Pennsylvania, feel free to chime in into the chat, but this is Pennsylvania specifically. If a venue is required, then you would be responsible to either handwrite that in, which is totally acceptable, or replace the certificate.
Okay.
And with
Okay.
a certificate that includes the venue.
Okay.
And if so, your hierarchy of man, okay, so much for my brain working. Of support would be contact your state statutes, or your Pennsylvania law primer, or the National Notary Association's hotline if you are a member.
I am.
They can help guide you through that and navigate that for the state of Pennsylvania.
Just simple term, you're saying don't leave it blank. It has to be filled in.
Well, okay, so you had mentioned that there was nothing there. If there's something there that says state, county of, then yes, absolutely fill that in. You can handwrite that in.
No, it's not in there at all. It's blank. Like
Okay.
it's just the verbiage is there. It's letting me know it is a notarization that needs to be done, but it's not giving me the venue. That's it.
Gotcha. Yep. Find out if it's mandatory in the state of Pennsylvania. If it is, follow those instructions. If it's not, it can still be a best practice.
Okay. Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you.
Great question. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right. Della Beaver, thank you so much for being here. What state are you in and how can we help? Don't forget to unmute though.
All right, can you hear me?
Yep, sure can. Hi, Della.
Hi, I'm in Pennsylvania,
Oh, perfect.
and I really don't have a question. I just wanted to disagree with you for a second on your MBB being for advanced notaries. I know you said it is, but I'm a beginner and I get a lot of value out of it. So I'm not going to say that it's only for advanced, because I do get a lot of information out of it. And right now I'm on your morning miracle morning.
Oh, great.
So just wanted to say that. That's all.
Well, thank you, Della. And I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you. And I would totally agree with you. I think if I was a beginner, just the way my brain thinks, I'd probably be right there with you. I totally agree. The reason that we specify that it's for advanced guys is because we're not in there talking about what kind of printer to buy or where to find the cheapest paper. We're talking about how are you going to kick down the door of the clients you want to work with and build an authentic relationship? How are you going to do your search engine optimization, right? How are you going to build a business that you love that lasts beyond a boom? So thank you, Della. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I do have another program that I use for that, how, that beginner, how to do all that, but I still get a lot of, good value from being a part of MBB.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
No problem. Bye-bye.
Griff, how's it going, buddy?
Doing good, my man. Doing great out here doing some house inspections way out here in the backwoods of Virginia Beach. Hope I don't get stuck nowhere. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. Glad to see you on. What's going on?
All right. Yeah, real quick, to the lady. Yeah, you're right. That's been a big question, Bill, about the venue lately, from a lot of notaries. I actually did a video on it. And for some of the notaries, their state law does require them to do a venue, and I have a couple of title companies that send me documents that venue, so I handwrite it in there, because Virginia requires it. And as Bill said, if your state requires a venue, you're supposed to put it on there, even if you're in New York and it's or fill in the blanks and everything. So Bill is, 1,000% confirm that for him. But I wanted to ask you about the reverse mortgages, because I've been noticing lately more and more been coming through. And then a company hit me up today, a signing company, saying that they're going to start doing training on it. Of course, I know you do it, and I look at yours. I was just like, okay, have you seen anything for as the increase of reverse mortgages? And then secondly, I did a video about this, just encouraging notaries not to get scared and run off from the business because the interest rates are going up. Because lately, out of the last 7 or 8 refis I've done, the average interest rate has been over 4%, and people have been pulling out money left and right. So in other words, the refinances are still happening, even though the rates have gone up, because people, they need their money, even if they are refinancing into a higher interest rate. Back to you.
Yeah, Griff, that's a really good point. We're in this kind of in-between phase there too, because the property values are skyrocketing too. So there are people refinancing and taking advantage of their equity right now. So that's a really good point. As far as reverse mortgages, yeah, we've been anticipating this for probably about 18 months, working with Nina, sharing that the reverse mortgage trend is gaining even more momentum, and it's expected to continue well beyond this year as well. So that's what makes that certified reverse mortgage signing professional program extremely timely. And if you're curious about reverse mortgages, man, that program will teach you more about reverse mortgages than the loan officers who typically sell it. There's some really cool stuff happening with NRMLA or NRMLA, which is the National Reverse Mortgage Lenders Association, Notary, all of these are really getting kind of tied into our orbit here to really scale that thing out. And that, of course, is included in NBB as well.
Okay, yeah, that's who hit me up, Notary, because I've been doing a lot for them lately. And the one thing that I keep sharing, even on my YouTube channel, to people about the reverse mortgages and why I like them, is because I don't see I don't see any errors with them. They have the numbers together. Unlike a refinance, I've gone into refinances and the interest rate's not right, the cash coming back's not right. But with the reverse mortgage, they do so much counseling with the people, and everything is like really put together, where I have never had to call the reverse mortgage officer or anybody to say, hey, these numbers aren't right because the customer said you promised them this and it's something else. That's why I like them, because I mean, I won't say they're 100% error free, but so far I have not had any calls that I had to make at the table because what was in the documents wasn't what was told to them before I got there. And then you have the reverse mortgage, the lender, the loan officer will come sometimes and they run the show, and that just makes it even more easier for me just to sit there, be quiet, sign, stamp, and bounce out. And I make a great connection because of the way I'm conducting myself, and they feel comfortable. And at every refinance I do with a reverse mortgage, I always tell them I love doing them. Awesome. Because I'm hoping they would come call back or say, hey, how did the notary do it? Oh, well, the notary said he loves doing them. Okay, cool. And I think that's starting to pay off for me.
Okay.
I think that's very true, Griff. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I have found the exact same, especially for applications. If you take an application, and that gives you a chance to build a relationship for the closing as well. It's not for everybody, right? We got to be truthful about that. It takes longer. They move at a different pace. They're very conversational. There's usually cookies and coffee involved.
Mm-hmm. Well, that food is good.
If you're into it, it can be really, really rewarding. Thank you for sharing, Griff. Great to see you on here.
All right, my man.
All right, catch you later. Randy, welcome back.
Hey, Bill, one of the previous callers made me think of another question.
Sure.
So I did a signing the other day for a lovely lady that was 91, and she was laying on the couch and she was kind of bound. She had a walker, but she was kind of bound to the couch, and her real estate agent was there as well. And the title company gave me a heads up and said, hey, this lady's 91. This may take a little bit longer, just so you have you're prepared for that. And her real estate agent's going to be there. And so I proactively asked, is it okay if she can't write very well if I fill in, or if her real estate agent fills in the documents for her? And the title company is one I work with all the time. They said, you can fill it out as long as she verifies everything's good. And she signs it. So when we got there, her handwriting was very, very shaky, and she asked me to go ahead. She when one of the first forms we came to was the payout, and she gave me a blank check and said, "Here's my information." And so I asked her if it was okay for me to write in the information, and then I had her real estate agent double check everything. But on some of the other stuff, I filled in the information as far as her phone number and her address and all of that stuff. In the past, I have never done that for anyone. There's always been some kind of family member there, a spouse or a child or something. So I've had them do it, but kind of best practice, do you have a problem with the notary filling in the forms for someone?
Randy, that's a really difficult question for me to answer on a call like this, because there are people who are relying on my answer, right? So my answer has to be no, a notary should never fill in this information. But let's be real. At some point, it becomes a disservice to force somebody who is just not capable of doing this, or it creates the pain and suffering for them to have to do this. So in my experience, if I've got an exceptional situation where somebody just cannot fill in their dates, or they just need a little bit of help, do I make an exception to that? Absolutely. Do I make it a practice? Absolutely not. Like, I'm going to do everything I can to keep liability off of my shoulders. I don't want responsibility for especially bank account numbers and routing numbers. But there have been some cases where we just have to do that. But we can't make that a normal practice. We can't normalize doing that too much, because it's a slippery slope for us.
Okay, and that would kind of lead into, is there a liability issue with me filling that out that you see?
The liability, I don't believe that there's any, and I don't know like all the laws for every state, but I don't know of any specific law that says we can't do it. But if we do it, and then something goes wrong, account number's off by one digit, and it ends up in somebody else's account, is there going to be some repercussions for that? There could be. Who knows? I don't know what the legal liability of that kind of stuff is. You can talk to an attorney if we really get into that, but it can really jam things up. And even if there's not legal liability, there's relationship liability, right? You could damage relationships with a client for your long-term business. So it's just not something that you probably want to get into.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you bet. Great question. Hey, Matt, I noticed you jumped off or lowered your hand. Are you still here? Would you like to ask your question or offer your perspective?
Sure, Bill. I just wanted to confirm to the Pennsylvania caller about the venue information on the certificate that yes, Pennsylvania is a Rulana state, so they have implemented all aspects of the revised uniform law on notarial acts. So you would be required to indicate a venue. And I've had this situation happen multiple times, particularly for documents from New York, where there is no space for a venue, but you can write it in, just write state, county. Or if you're in my state, for example, typically those documents are calling for jurats. So you would just attach your own jurat or acknowledgement and go from there. So hope that helps that caller.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. That was for Ellie and, oh man, I forgot the second person, but thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. All right, guys, we are past the hour. Phil Shannon is going to have his Zoom webinar right after this, probably in about 2 minutes. You can find the Zoom link at notarycoach.com/TNT for Tuesday Notary Titans at the very bottom of the page if you'd like to join them for that. Thank you for being here on a Tuesday to grow yourself and your business. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye-bye. If you want to save the chat, just hit the 3 buttons in the chat and hit save chat at the top of that list. All right, thanks guys. Bye-bye.